doors will open on the right. Line 1, your phone.
Hey everyone, it is Thursday, September 30th. The time is 4:27 p.m. and outside the temperature is around 15 degrees Celsius. And I'm here at College Station in downtown Toronto. And there's a look at the southbound Line 1 train. That'll be heading south to Dundas Station and then down to Union, where it'll go around the loop and head back up north up the university side. And for this one, I'll be heading on up to street level, and I'll be walking east along Carlton Street over to the Cabbagetown neighbourhood. And then I'll walk through the residential area for a bit, I think along a street called Winchester. And I'll finish up at Riverdale Park. All right, let's head on up to the south side of Carlton. There's a look at one of the older style streetcars and a couple of the new ones. And that's the 506 Carlton, and that'll be going to High Park. Well, both of them will. Although there seems to be something going on Yonge Street here. Well, I think that's a protest, probably in front of the police headquarters. That's off on the other side on College. But here at Yonge, east of Yonge at least, it is Carlton, and to the west of Yonge it is College Street. And that would explain why traffic is backed up heading westbound. That's a bit unfortunate. So it is east on the south side of Carlton. I always kind of liked how this condo looked. There's the Carlton Cinemas. And that is a discount theater. Currently playing as Pig, Cop Shop, The Green Knight, Mayday. Oops, sorry. I was reading the sign. I looked forward, I didn't see anyone there, so I started reading all the movies when she popped out of that cafe there. I'll have to watch the video to determine who was at fault, but luckily an incident was avoided. And on that side of the street is the Ryerson University Athletics Center. It also houses a Loblaws and an LCBO. And that is in Maple Leaf Gardens. That opened up back in 1931, and it was the home of the Toronto Maple Leafs for quite a while. It was also where the first ever National Basketball League game was played between the Toronto Huskies and the New York Knickerbockers. And Muhammad Ali has fought there, and the Beatles have played there. So it's a rather historic building here in the city. It's now the Mattamy Athletic Center by official name. And right behind me is an Expectations restaurant that doesn't look to be open anymore. And that replaced a beloved Golden Griddle. That was a 24-hour restaurant that, for me at least, was known for serving up delicious chocolate pancakes. And their Midtown Toronto location also closed around a similar time. Here is Church Street. And just north of here is the Church Wellesley Village. And there was a popular bar, I think. That was a part of that particular neighborhood on that corner, and it got replaced by that condo. What else? There's a look southbound church. So this is the east side of downtown. And there's the 506 Carlton bus. And that one is going to Spadina Station, or at least Spadina Avenue. It just says to Spadina on it. And on the right is the former Best Western Primrose Hotel.
And that one.
No, that is on the next block. I just had a brain fart there. I was looking at it, I'm like, this can't be right.
Then I'll give you your full safety.
That is a block to the east of here. That's the building I meant to reference. There's the Golden Diner. I've never been. Well, they don't put prices on their breakfast, but they do on their other meals. So here's the former Best Western Hotel on the right. And I think in the late 2000s, it was converted to a student residence for Ryerson University. There's a really neat mural on the other side. Here's Jarvis Street. I'll cross the street and spin around and get a look at that mural. And there are the Allan Gardens. This neighborhood is known as the Garden District, and it takes its name from the Allan Gardens. I have a friend that lives in that brown apartment building on the north side of Carlton. And from his balcony, he has a rather spectacular view of the skyline. You might not think it, but he's kind of in the corner there. I'll have to go visit him at some point, just get another view from there. Not that that's the only reason I have to hang out with him, but you get the idea. There's a large botanical garden in there. I've done a few walks through there where I've talked about those facilities before. It's quite neat. And a large off-leash dog zone. So he is in the corner up there somewhere. Forget the floor. I do know they're not allowed to take their bikes up to their balconies there, which is pretty stupid. Who's going to trust their bike in a storage facility in a building like that? And his response was just not to have a very expensive bike. There's a look into the off-leash zone. And what looks to be a sizable encampment in Allan Gardens. There seems to be a large event being held. There's a lot of orange shirts. And I apologize for not being up to speed on current relations, but I saw a number of those earlier today. Someone was wearing one that said, "Children's lives matter." I think that's in remembrance of what's happened with the residential school system here in Canada. There's another 506 bus. And this is Sherbourne Street coming up. So once I'm on the other side of Sherbourne, I'll be in the Cabbagetown neighbourhood. Oh, I think she wants to go to Bay Street. She's on the wrong side of the street. Sounds like the bus driver is helping her out. There's someone with a flag. And a look south on Sherbourne. It says, "Every child matters." There's the Toronto Sheep Flock Presbyterian Church. Looks like there's a development plan to wrap right around it. And another church. Oh, look at that dog. You don't see that too often. They could just jump out any moment. I think it knows better. Oh, that's kind of neat. think I did a walk that passed through a lot of alleyways and side streets in this area last year at some point. There's some more neat art. A lot of these buildings date back to the 1800s. In fact, I'm positive these ones do. There is Seton Street. And I've mentioned it before, but Cabbagetown is home to North America's largest continuous neighborhood of Victorian homes. And just to the north of here is St. Jamestown, and to the southeast of here is Regent Park. Those are large-scale housing developments that replaced a lot of Victorian homes. Although it's said that a lot of them were in a rather poor state of repair, or disrepair might be a better word, when they were replaced. Here is the Irv. It's an excellent little bar. And it'll look south down Ontario Street. That utility box has a rather neat paint job on it. And last year during the pandemic, the owner of the Irv was quite vocal about the difficult situation they were put in, not being allowed to operate and not receiving adequate support from the provincial government. So it's good to see they've pulled through. Most of the homes here in Carlton are actually businesses now. This one is particularly well kept. That's a general contracting company. There's some nice ones. And here is Berkeley Street. There's Stout. They've got a nice backyard patio and a very extensive collection of beer on tap. And coming up is Parliament Street. So this area would be the heart of the retail area in Cabbagetown. What I'll do is I'll go north here for a block. Carlton continues just on the other side there. But rather than take Carlton, which I've done before, I'll head down Winchester, which is just a block to the north of that. And I'll take that over to Riverdale Park. I had a thought to cross there, but the countdown was too far gone. So there's a look south on Parliament. So here's where Carlton Street continues. And a look west. So this terminates at Riverdale Park West. I'm actually on my way to a good friend's birthday dinner. That will be at a restaurant down in the Riverside district. So that was kind of one of the reasons for plotting this walk, starting where I did and finishing where I will. Here's the Canadian Contemporary Dance Theatre.
Go when you can.
They do, like. This building here in the corner is a really old hotel. That's the Winchester Gardens. So now it'll be mostly residential until I get to the park. Again, most of these homes date back to the 1800s. There are some workers' cottages that are much smaller and easier to identify. I'm not sure if I'll go by any on this one. But I'm planning on coming back in the fall, doing a walk around here once the leaves start changing. I think that'll be rather nice. Look at that old school fire escape. That can't be too sturdy. Yeah, it's the Winchester or the Toronto Dance Theatre. Obviously in an old church. That's the Gerrard Street Methodist Church. So I think this area was originally primarily occupied by laborers, many coming from Ireland. And it gets its name Cabbagetown, as cabbage was a crop that they were able to grow in their front yard. That was more out of necessity. And a number of notable people have lived in these parts over the years, and some of them still do. There's a really narrow house. There's a lot of those curved archways that are reminiscent of the annex-style home you see over in that particular neighborhood. And I think coming up at 137, there's an Airbnb, or at least was a 15-unit Airbnb, as this is Sackville Street. And in the park, there's a zoo that's open every day of the year, at least during non-pandemic times. I believe admission is free. All right, I'm gonna cross and see if I can figure out if this Airbnb is still there or not. I didn't find any listings online for it in quite a while. These are more workers' cottage style, but not quite. There's St. Martin's School on the left. There's a couple of schools in this neighborhood. There's also a large co-op housing development. Was it 137? Maybe it was 133. Did I go past it? Oh, I think it's this one right here. Yeah, I don't see any signs that it's still operating. And the last reviews online were about 4 years ago. There's a look into the school. And there is the Toronto Necropolis. That's where Jack Layton is buried. He's the former leader of the NDP party. All right, and this is Riverdale Park West. And on the other side of the Don River is Riverdale Park East, and I'm gonna head over that way. And that's the zoo just over there. We are half a kilometer away from the Lower Don Trail. So if you're here for the urban aspect of this walk, then this might be a good place to stop watching, as I'm just going to walk through the park here. I will finish up with that view of the skyline that I'm known for taking in on this channel. See if we can see any animals. I think someone stole a goat from this farm not too long ago, and I don't think it was ever recovered. Hopefully it ended up having a good home and not on someone's dinner plate, although that's probably what happened to it. There's some cows. There's some horses over there. It's called Riverdale Farm, but it's more of a zoo, I guess. There's the end of Carlton Street. And this stretch of Carlton has interlocking brick instead of the usual asphalt. All right, so I will head across the park since I'm here. Who needs a staircase when you got this bike path carved out onto the hill? There's some pretty good sledding action going on here in the wintertime. I did a video of that last winter, although it's a little better on the other side of the park. And there's 4 baseball fields on this side, although only 2 of them are really usable. This one, you won't see too many organized games going on there or at that one, but the ones in the corners you will. I used to play softball in a league that used these diamonds. And there's a public washroom. Definitely bring your nose plugs if you're gonna head on in there. This is definitely a popular park amongst dog walkers. There's not too many places you can responsibly let your dog off leash, but I'd say this is one of them, as long as there's no softball games going on. It's just a big field. It's relatively well enclosed. And there is Bridgepoint Health. So I'm going to be heading over to that bridge and crossing it. Then when I get up to Broadview Avenue, I'm going to end the video and I might take a bus down to Queen Street East. I remember playing softball here one night, and I pulled a foul ball onto Bayview Avenue, which is the road running parallel to the third baseline right over there. It's surprisingly reachable with not much effort. Also, if you just hit a good line drive to the outfield, and they've cut the grass recently, the ball will just roll forever, giving you a home run if no one cuts it off. And you can see the tip of the financial district. Scotia Plaza, First Canadian Place, and the CN Tower. And it's up over Bayview Avenue, the Lower Don Trail, the rail tracks, the Don River, and the Don Valley Parkway. That's Bayview. And off in the distance is the Canary District. And here's the trail that was marked for closure earlier this year, as they're going to be rejuvenating it. But for whatever reason, that didn't come to be. We are made of stardust. It's a Carl Sagan quote, I believe. A famous astrophysicist. There's a look south along the Don River, which will be feeding into a new river mouth being formed, or at least drastically reconfigured down in the Portlands. That's the Don Valley parking lot. And a view to the north. This would be the thick of rush hour, seeing as it's just after 5 p.m. So not too long ago, I did a hidden Toronto walk where I came down a pathway. That took us that way. It was kind of a secret entrance where it'll spit you out at Danforth Avenue. So this here is Riverdale Park East, former landfill site. There's a bathroom. She did not think someone would be recording her doing that, I bet. So I'm just gonna cut straight through the park and head up the hill over there. There's the large athletic field. And this doesn't look like your standard running track, at least from the top. Looks a bit longer and narrower, although from this angle it looks all right. I don't know. I'll take a Google satellite image of this and compare it to other tracks. And at one point, this was proposed to be the new home of the Toronto Skydome. It'd be kind of weird having a baseball stadium at this site. And at the top of the hill, there's green poles that vent the gas from when it was a landfill. And during the height of the pandemic, this was a very popular place to come do some public drinking. Often this hill over here with all the shade was full of people. And you can see the Bloor Viaducts. I'm hoping when the next version of this camera comes out, the zoom is a little stronger than just 2 times. And it's back to a very familiar spot. I ended my cycling live stream here, or my e-bike live stream, earlier this week. It's just a very convenient area of town. I have a number of friends that live over here. It's very close to Greektown and the Danforth just to the north, East Chinatown just to the south, and just south of that is Riverside and Leslieville. So there's a lot of great options out this way. And I think it just might be my second favorite neighborhood in the city. All right, I'll give a spoiler and turn around and take in that skyline view. Oh, look at that remote control plane. That thing is a monster. I think it's that guy in the baseball field controlling it. All right, continue the march, which I'm doing in jeans for some reason. I could have followed the trail up the south end of the park. That would have been a much easier hike. And I am starting to run out of gas. How many steps am I at today? That's it. A lowly 20,360. Here's Broadview Avenue. Here's those venting pipes. And a look at Riverdale, or the Skyline. I hope you enjoyed this walk from College Station, east along Carlton Street into Cabbagetown, and over to Riverdale Park West, and then through Riverdale Park East. If you wish to support the channel, there are links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. And I also have an Instagram account, if that's to your liking. Anywho, thank you for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one as I awkwardly flip the camera back around.